Hello there. I am coming at you with this little video just to explain my new program, The Aligned Heart, starting in January 2026. You probably know me, most likely, if you're looking at this program, and possibly you don't. And regardless, it's a big pivot in how I am moving forward and sharing my work. So, in addition to the website, I wanted to come in with my voice, photography of me. I'm just laughing because if you do know me, you know that this isn't my MO, right? Like I shy away from a lot of photography of myself. But this little video is going to be chock full of it because I just recently had some beautiful photography done by Lauren Davidson. So I'm putting it to use instead of using my face on this little video because I'm no makeup, hair, and a yogi bun, and um, my normal work at home look. So, anyway, I wanted to tell you about this program, let you get a sense of my intention, my vision, my personality, how I'm currently maneuvering in the world. And you're probably really familiar with some of this remember who you are, which has become really the root of the work I'm sharing in the world is helping you remember who you are. Who are you below the conditioning, below all the experiences that have happened for you and shaped you into the person you are. And that's really all we're trying to do is to become more and more steadfast in this remembrance so that we can be of service, show up in the world in a new way, in a lighter way. Um, Even if that's in a very tiny world, even if that's just for your dogs and your cat, right? Or your family, or in your workspace, or maybe you're leading, you're out there in leadership in some way, whether it's teaching yoga or working in a nonprofit or for profit for that matter. But we all, at this point, we all need to be showing up as whole as possible. And so, what makes this program different? Well, it's one of a kind for sure. So, it's uniquely me and um, what I've practiced, what I've realized through my own journey, what I'm super into. So it is rooted in Vedic wisdom, but also modern somatics, which is basically nervous system regulation. So that's not really different than Vedic wisdom, but it does have the words and the science that supports the practices. And we're not going anywhere, right? This is a spiral program. We keep coming back to the lessons. We keep coming back and dialing it in deeper and expanding more and adding nuance. And so there's this focus, and this is a really big point to make, that restoration comes first. Healing only happens when we feel safe and we have a regulated nervous system. So, no matter how many books you read, or how many videos you watch, or how many sessions you attend, if you're not coming at it from a place of safety, security, and a regulated nervous system, you're just waiting. We're just waiting in the water, right? So we really have to focus on restoration and safety first. And I think that comes from a sense of belonging. We can get that in community, a sense of belonging. But really, we need to know, and we need to have the information that we belong here on earth, just as we are, just as we are. And so there is also a really strong focus on integration and practices that you'll use not only within sessions but outside of the session as well. Okay. And why are you here? Well, you're going to have your own reasons, but there's patterns that show up. I talk to people every day, whether it's one-on-one sessions in group or just text messages back and forth. And you know, the people showing up have a kind of a common theme. We've got a way about us. We feel like we've been carrying more than our fair share. We've been doing the heavy lifting, and sometimes for a really long time, decades, maybe even lifetimes. Oftentimes, people that are showing up are on going through grief pilgrimage, a grief journey, um, another pilgrimage of sorts, a spiritual pilgrimage, um, man, all kinds of things. They may feel like they're having a nervous breakdown. They're going through divorce. They're going through loss of job, loss of community, loss of a sense of they thought they knew how things were. And all of a sudden they've awakened to a new reality. So that's pretty common of the people that show up in my sphere. We're all kind of going through this thing together. My little dog's over here making noise. Um, but we also are feeling this pull towards authenticity and purpose of just being who we are without exception, right? Without conceding something, just wanting to really show up just how we are. We're probably sick and tired of the inner critic and self doubt and a low sense of worth. We're tired of rushing and striving and trying to make everything better. And we're longing for something steady and something spacious. Okay. And why is it that we're not there? What's the problem? So it's not your fault. We live in a world where we did not get the information we needed about how to stay connected to our natural cycles, right? We've, especially with the way technology is changing so fast. I mean, every week it seems like it's just on this roller coaster downhill. Um, so we have to do more things in order to counter the technology that we're dealing with. Our system is feeling overwhelmed and burned out, and we're just taking that as normal, right? We're like, well, this is how life is now. Well, yes and no. That might be how your life is, but you don't have to just succumb to that. You can do things differently. There's simple things we can do. And someone told me this once, and it made so much difference in my life, that the things that I'm doing, my self-care thing should feel like for me, like taking a long bath is something I love to do, right? Like I do that several times a week, probably like 4 or 5 times a week. Take a long, big, deep bath, right? I'm very luxurious that way. The other things that I do for self-care, that doesn't even seem like self-care. That just seems like if I don't do that, like that just like that equals sleep to me, right? But all the other stuff that I should do, it should feel in alignment to me like that bath does. It should be something I want to do versus eating a certain way or doing certain things. I have to find these things that are as nourishing as that warm bath. What's your long warm bath, and start finding things that you want to do like that. And instead of trying to fix yourself and do something on a list somebody made. We see that in Ayurveda a lot. Like, if you're a Kapha, you need to do this. If you're a Vata, you need to do this. If you're a Pitta, you need to do this. It's a lot more complicated and also a lot more simpler than just looking at somebody else's list. We want your own list. And what would it be like if all of that changed? Like, let's give yourself a moment. Imagine imagine the ease and the self-trust of just aligning to your own rhythm without the pressure and the seasons and the cosmos. Imagine support that restores you and not doesn't deplete you. In a circle of people where you really feel seen and held and heard just as you are. That's what's being created over here. So, how this program will look, well, I'm giving you the bare bones, right? So, there's a part of this that is going to just evolve as the group comes together throughout the year. But like the bare bones of it is that we will use Vedic astrology. You do not need to know Vedic astrology. I will give you everything you need. You'll get a map each month that changes, right? So each month I'm going to give you a report on the a week before the new moon, give or take, that will tell you what's up for you. So you're going to see what's up for the collective as well, but you're going to specifically see what's up for you and how to work with this. Within the class time, we will do breath work and restorative and somatic practices to reset our nervous system. Remember what I said a few slides back is healing happens when we are regulated. So that will be key, to have practice time as a group to regulate together. You'll have rituals to do in between sessions as touch tones to keep coming back. You'll have a book. We'll dive into that book here in a little bit. At least the first 29 people will have a book as part of this. If you're after the 29, you might have to buy a book. We'll figure that out later. And this rhythm of belonging and accountability. So there's ways to deepen this, right? So you'll be able to, the program by itself is $108 a month. There's it is consecutive. It's a 12-month program, but you can opt out at any time. I am not holding anyone hostage. But it is $108 a month. But there's also ways to deepen this. Maybe you're the type of person who's really going through something and you know that you want to do one-to-one sessions. That will add on $100 a month for 12 one-to-one sessions. You can use those sessions quarterly. Maybe we do 3 to 4 each quarter, or maybe we do them once a month each year. It's kind of up to you. You'll want to see how things are going and where you might need some support. There's tons of things we can do with these one-to-one sessions, and we can talk about that in a clarity call when you feel pulled towards it. But the one-to-one sessions add on $100 a month, so that it becomes $208 a month for the program with this customized guidance, personalized guidance. Another thing that I'm offering is this little once a month, maybe the second Wednesday is kind of the plan. We'll see who's doing it and kind of find a date that works for us. It will be midday though, so if you work a 9 to 5, this would be a hard one for you. But once a month, we are going to get together, maybe from 11 to 1 o'clock, and work on our sacred business. So that could be me working with automations, helping you understand how to work a newsletter and get automations going. It could be as simple as systems and how I'm working my systems. I get asked these questions all the time. How am I doing my newsletters? How am I doing all this stuff, right? And so it'll be a time where I come in with a topic and we start talking about it, and I show you my process, and you'll be working on your process in the background. We may be writing, I may be telling you about all the cool stuff I've learned this last year about writing and human design and how that's changed my way of showing up in the world. So that will just be an add-on of $18. So that would take your 108 to 126 a month. Okay. Or your 208 to 226 a month. If that's something you want to add on, if you're wanting to be more visible in the world, I want to help you with that. Okay. So here's the thing, right? Like, I can't make all the meetings, or I live out of town. So I'm offering this two ways. One is online. Most likely these are 8:30 a.m. twice a month on Sunday mornings. If I get some West Coasters, I'm happy to work a time. Maybe we do 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. We'll have to look at who's in the group and support their Sunday practice. Okay. So right now it's kind of set at 8:30 or 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. We'll see how that goes. I'm flexible in these ways, right? And these online circles will be recorded. Now, not sharing circle. I will not record sharing, sacred sharing, but like the lessons and the practice, I'll record. Okay. So if you are an in-person and missing, or you're online and missing, no worries. I'll have a recording of the nuts of it. In-person gatherings will be at the Yoga Sanctuary in Huntington. One Tuesday a month, probably 6 to 8, and one Saturday a month, probably, I don't know, 9 to noon, 8 to 11. I don't know. Those things are flexible a little bit. I'm giving you like the concise nuts and bolts of it. Probably these things are longer than what they're showing up, right? But we need to meet ourselves where we are. So you need to know that you can come for the bare bones 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 and get the nuts and bolts of what you need to get. And then maybe we have a potluck, or we have a little extracurricular later on. Those things are optional. But know whether you can choose a hybrid, right? And most people will be doing this because there's vacations. Maybe they can only attend while they're, on vacation online, but they mostly attend in person. Fine. You can be fluid and go from the online to the in-person. It's made to meet you where you are. This is me and my new profile picture that I'm loving. I'm Jen, the founder of the Yoga Sanctuary. I'm a long-term restorative yoga teacher. From the beginning, I've been teaching restoratives, nervous system resets. I'm newly a breathwork facilitator. I weave that into restorative yoga now. I'm a Vedic astrologer, which is different than Western astrology. And I'm a retreat leader. Um, and I walk with women who are ready to live from authenticity so that they can be an upliftment in our world. I am really here to get you to be who you are fully, without exception, without excuse, and to show up that way. I think you know what I mean, right? So many of us have compromised ourselves, and we're just not being true to who we know we are. Okay, so I do have an early bird. It's $108 now, right? And to start preparing. And then the monthly 108 will start, the 12 months will start on January 5th. But the $108 now is really the prep work. We're started, right? Like I am giving people a monthly report. Now we're in a Facebook Messenger group. If people have questions or want to share, the group's open for that. I usually will pop into the group with some tidbits or some extras. If you're local, I'm going to give you a bottle of floral essence that is a supportive vibrational medicine to help you align with your true self, to help you align with who you are as you're taking these next steps into the aligned heart. And then on January 1st, I think that's a Wednesday this year, I'm going to do pretty long, probably 5 or 6 hour retreat, where we're honoring endings and honoring beginnings. We're going to really get clear on what we've been through these last 6 years, 2020 to 2025, through 2025. This has been quite a pilgrimage we've all made our way through, and what we're open to as we enter this next phase. Okay, that's January 1st. It's not really part of Aligned Heart, but it is a really great prep to Aligned Heart. So all of that is included with this $108. And I'm really hoping you just heed the call and join us. So let me see. Yeah. So this is a poem I've come into recently that I really loved. Opening. In a forest of light, I am drawn to the shadow and feel how darkness, too, is an invitation to wander. No, the shadow is not my home, but neither is the light. The truest home is the wonderment. It's by Rosemary Watola Traumer. And this is a year of becoming dedicated to your whole holy self. So I mentioned before, there's a book, it's The Wisdom of Wholeness. I have 30 of them, one for me and 29 of you. Still being printed. It's not even out there to buy yet, right? I've already purchased the 30 of them months ago, like 6 months ago for that matter. They'll be here soon though. And it's a shadow work journal that each of us will have to work through the year, which I'll be guiding us through. And the way I'm thinking of shadows is really, it's what makes life interesting, right? It's when you look at photography or a portrait, or you've had some lessons, probably you have, you know that it's the shadows that makes everything interesting. Light will just obliterate all of the contrast. So it's not that that we're trying to eliminate anything. We're just trying to see the history, the past, what's hidden, why things are the way they are, and understand it. Just understand it, coming to peace with it all. This stuff happens more around new moon period. Shadow work is the new moon cycle. Um, and even more so during eclipse cycle. So eclipses are happening like every close to 6 months, 5.5 to 6 months between these cycles. So that's a bigger arc of the lunar cycles is the eclipse cycles. And right now, as I'm speaking to you on September 22nd, we just finished our second eclipse. So we had one on 9/7 and then the second half of it on 9/21. So we're just now starting to move into the final phases of this eclipse cycle. And this is where we really get some really great information. So hopefully it's been fruitful for you. Okay. And so just an example of the rhythm, class one will be prepping for the new moon cycle. Class one's before the new moon. You'll have your handout. An example will be our in-class persons on Tuesday, January 13th, or the online class will be on January 11th. The actual new moon is January 18th. So we're getting all of the information and some practice and ideas to support ourselves about a week ahead, right? Before the new moon, so that you can start applying it. You will have your report, you'll have a flower essence to take if you wish. You'll have a homework section of the workbook that's provided. Um, and you'll have a theme, the light work, which is the Dharma or your purpose and action. And you'll have shadow work. Okay. So example, like a theme might be, this is just an example. I don't know what January's theme is yet until I really dive in, but like listening to my inner wisdom, that would be the light work. And the shadow work would be looking at the inner critic and sneaky doubt. That's just an example. And then we'll practice and circle together. And between these sessions, you'll have a guided meditation track that I make and send out to you. And maybe there'll be some check-ins in between. And then class two will be prepping for the full moon. That'll be our longer class. So that's an example of the rhythm. And there might be all kinds of ways to amplify this. I'll probably suggest optional cohorts or buddies for you, leadership opportunities, community offerings. I know there's a few people that have not been through a yoga teacher training with me anyway, and are very interested on the ethics of yoga, the yamas and niyamas. I'll probably bring that in. And there may be more. And much of this is going to be optional, right? It's ways that you can amplify if that feels right. The big work is just cycling with the new moon and the full moon. So I love this quote by Rumi. The body itself is a screen to shield and partially reveal the light that's blazing inside your presence. So, are you looking to conform to what the world wants? Or are you ready to show your light, to be in your highest, regardless of cultural or societal preferences? Do you want to be in alignment with your heart and your blueprint that was set at the time of your birth? So that is the aligned heart. It's what we're about. It's a time to remember who you are, what you are, and how to serve. And not only remember it, but anchored into that. So the website has details with all the dates. If you go to the website, jenbrooksyoga.com/aligned heart, you'll see it up here. It has the details with the dates. They are subject to change, but basically all the information. If you want to talk to me more in depth about this, you can schedule a free clarity call. It's set up as a phone call, but we could also do a Zoom call. You could just email me and say, hey, I want to meet you, or we can meet in person and talk about it more. Yeah, there's more details at the bottom of this. You'll see there's all kinds of questions, the frequently asked questions section. You can go through that. Here's what the scheduler looks like to schedule a clarity call with me. You can just pick a date and time that's open. And if you already know that you're ready, the next step, whether you're doing early bird or not, if you want me to hold a book back for you, you know you're doing it, it's time to get your application in. It's not really an application, it's your intention, right? Your name, your email, and letting me know what you're registering for. So if you want to get started now and do the early bird, you would check this one. And yeah, you might be checking a whole bunch of boxes. That's okay. Just check all that applies. I know some people have been confused because they didn't know which box to check. Well, you can check them all. I'll know what you mean. So if you're ready to get started, early bird option. If you're doing the aligned heart in person or online, maybe you're going to do a hybrid. Maybe you want to check both of them. That's fine. If you want to add in the one-to-one mentoring, you can check that box. And if you want to add in the holistic solopreneur, where we're working on our businesses, one Wednesday a month, check that. That holistic solopreneur, there'll also be a little separate messenger feed where we can brainstorm in between. And, we're not going to start collecting payment unless you do the early bird option for that 108 do now, but the rest of it we'll set up for it to, we'll deal with that in December, setting you up for auto pay for the 5th of each month, something like that. Or, maybe there's other things, that you want to, maybe you need some sort of financial consideration. Maybe you're a teacher and you want to pay through teaching. There's other ways. So if you are financially strapped, let me know. We're all financially strapped, including me. I just want to make that clear. But if for some reason you're feeling really called to this, let me know and we'll see what, if anything, we can do about that. Okay, no promises. A lot of that will depend on how many people actually sign up. And then I just want to share too, I do plan to give you meditations each month, with binaural beats and often guided by my voice based on the theme. They'll be loaded up in SoundCloud. I have a bunch of things in SoundCloud now. So if you want to start practicing, you're welcome to find me on SoundCloud. Okay. And thank you so much, especially if you made it to the end of this. I appreciate you. And I really am looking forward to sharing a year with you. Blessings to you.